So let's get started. For those of you that may not be familiar with the work that I do, my name is Laura Joseph. I'm owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We're located in Northwest Ohio, but that doesn't really matter because the majority of our services are via live streaming, and we live stream to people all over the world. The Animal Behavior Center, what we do here is we show people how to empower um, animals in their care and the people that care for them, and we do that through our live streaming services. Then you can find out more about us on our website at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. Our live streaming services, I was going to mention this last week, but I had a very important guest on last week that we needed to focus on science and statistics of what was happening. Um, Oh, it's our 5-year anniversary. Last week and was our 5-year anniversary of live streaming Coffee with the Critters. It's not our 5-year anniversary of our business. We've been doing this for several years, but Coffee with the Critters is officially 5 years old. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m., I live stream right here from the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page on a topic of the science of understanding animal behavior, um, training, approaches in applied behavior analysis, positive reinforcement, and enrichment. And for anybody that wants to get in touch with me, I answer every email myself. I usually do that first thing in the morning, and my email is Lara, Lara, at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. So today we have 3 guests on. Um, but before I get started with them and bring them on, I am going to talk a little bit about how to get in touch with me and what has happened here this past week. So you can always pay attention to upcoming events um, and live streams that we have here on the Animal Behavior Center's page, right here on our Facebook page. If you want to keep up to date with us and everything that we're doing. We also have a newsletter, and I'll be sending one out this week. You can join our newsletter right here on our Facebook page, and all of our live streams, every Coffee with the Critters, is uploaded to our YouTube channel within 24 hours after our live stream. Just wanted to show our website in case for those that may have not visited it before. I hope everybody is doing well. Good morning, Maggie, Eva, Jennifer, Bobby, Joe. Good morning, Joe. Charlene, Shelley, Lisa, Melinda. Yeah. So pay attention this week to our live streams. You're going to be seeing something that you might be like, what is going on here? But I'm going to start giving you subtle hints and tips of some big events, changes, things that are going to happen here at the Animal Behavior Center. So um, our business here at the Animal Behavior Center is 80% live streaming services, and we've been doing this for years. So this is why I chose to bring on the guests that I have today, because they're all working either full-time or part-time remotely at home, and I want to share with you the services that they have to offer and give tips, tricks, ideas for live streaming. I live stream my work with animals, whether those are animals from zoos, animals here at the center. We live stream consultations. I've been doing this for years, and it works. And I know I gave a presentation probably about 5 years ago of how to conduct online business, no matter what your service is. Um, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've used several different platforms. I am really big on staying engaged with my audience. I'm very passionate about the work that I do, and I think that shows, at least I've been told. And I want to share with you today and the guests that we have on how we can help them, different tips and tricks that not tricks, there are no tricks unless I'm training my animals. Different ideas and things to do. You can see that we're doing this now. It has kicked into full gear in our live streaming services. We have our level 1 online learning membership, which is geared towards companion animals. Um, and what I do is I teach how to use applied behavior analysis in everyday behavior, making it very understandable. Sorry, got distracted by a bird. Making it very understandable how to use these approaches in applied behavior analysis with our animals. Level 2 is more for professional animal trainers, people thinking about getting into the field, board certified behavior analysts. We have a couple different board certified behavior analysts in there, a couple different zoos in there. Um, with that being said, we also have our projects, which are species specific. Sometimes people don't want to listen to podcasts on understanding applied behavior analysis and how it applies to our animals. They just want the live streams, the monthly Q&As, and they want it species specific. So we do that. We have the Deaf Dog Project, the Parrot Project, the Pig Project. And the reason I say that is because of some of the things that I'm going to talk about, which is this. And for the guests in the lobby, listen to what I'm getting ready to say because I did this for a reason. All right. I'm very close with the people in the projects and the memberships. It's a lot about engagement, interacting. Now we're in the times of how can I help you personally? I don't know. Let's see. Last Saturday, so for the date for anybody watching this replay, this is March 22nd, 2020. Okay. And we're all living in a world, in a lifestyle, which we are not familiar with. We don't know what to expect because it hasn't happened yet. The only thing we can expect is what is happening overseas. Um, so, with that being said, I'm starting to get my dates mixed up because I have been alone here at the Animal Behavior Center as of Thursday was the last time we've had anybody in because I have 3 serious lung issues. And we're in the time right now of living with COVID-19 or trying to avoid it. All right. I have 3 serious lung issues. If this hits me, I don't know, you know? So what I've done instead of being so nervous and decontaminating everything, we just took on even more volunteers. We have 5 new volunteers. We've got volunteers waiting to come in. With the new ones coming in, we had one message or call me last week and she goes, I don't care. I'm healthy. I'm fine. And my response was, I'm not healthy. And it was getting overwhelming for me. So we had set up all kinds of protocols out there, keep only one person in the bird room, one person in the training room. And I was getting too nervous. I just called it to a halt. So as of Thursday was the last time we had anybody in here. So fortunately or unfortunately, here at the Animal Behavior Center, we are on complete lockdown. And I am getting ready to start my 3rd day of working here by myself. It's a lot. It is a lot. I've got all these animals. I'm doing all these jobs. But you know what is we have nobody any longer coming in and going out. I'm starting to be able to touch my face again. I mean, my hands are bloody raw. But it's given me peace of mind instead of having to worry all the time and, oh, I just touched my face. So it's creating a lot of anxiety. I've already gone through small spells of being depressed. What I can do to help my mental state at this time. And it's taken a lot more than birds and lemurs to help my mental state at this time. But what I have done is I'm like, I am not the only person out here feeling like this. All right. So I'm being creative, and a lot of things of what I'm doing is not really any different for me because I work from home. The only thing I'm not being able to do is see people physically and talk to them. I can no longer go out to the zoo. And I want to tell you, the zoo is being phenomenal with me, and all their workers, and a big, huge kudos to them. Um, so, something I have done this past week, let's see, I can't even remember. I think it was a week ago today. I live in the state of Ohio, and I'm extremely proud to be a Buckeye right now. Um, our governor shut down all our bars and restaurants 1 week ago today. Um, Something else has happened. I can't remember what it is. Um, but what I've done is people still like to get together. So what I did this week is I did this in one of my projects, and I'm going to start doing it in level 1 and level 2, is we had a group online live streaming happy hour. We did this Friday night at 6:30. So many thank yous came to me for that. And we all poured a cocktail and we sat down at 6:30, and we didn't talk about birds. We talked about, it was like a social hour. Tell me what's going on. What do you guys want to talk about? We ended up talking about so many things. It lasted for an hour and a half, and I got so many thank yous for people about providing this service to them. And here is we right as we got started, we ended up, I can't remember what we ended with, how many people in there, but we all just did a cheers. And I said, let's do a screen capture and share this with the world that we're still getting together. And it was so cool because I got to know so many people in this project. And we even had one of our subscribers from Australia join us. Um, and one of those people that came on that live stream with us is here today because I was not familiar with the work she had done. And I was just like, I have the perfect idea for you. You need to get on Coffee with the Critters with me. Um, so, with that being said, I got, excuse me, two more photos to show, and then I'm going to bring on our guests. So, what I have found through cleaning every cage by myself, and I understand this, is what my volunteers are going through on a daily basis and how I can make this better. And now I would like to say I have the time, but I don't, because now I'm taking care of 15 animals by myself. Um, and I'm lonely because I'm just like, Dylan Pickles, can you talk to me? But I am planning in the mindset of how my business is going to continue, um, how my business is going to continue once the world gets back to normal, whenever that happens. So we were getting ready to open our doors yesterday, which we put a halt to early last week, to the public for our lemur encounters. They were supposed to start yesterday. So I went in yesterday and started training them even more myself, like how can I make this lemur encounter even better for the individual once they start happening again, because they are going to start happening again. This next photo is sideways. I couldn't get it to come up. But this is I am training all of my animals several times a day. And we've been struggling with Kooky the Cooper in the sense that we accidentally punished the behavior we didn't mean to. So what I did, and it took me 2 days to get Kooky back on track, and boom, he is skyrocketing. And I was just like, I am so happy, and I have nobody to share this with. But I was like, yes, I do. So I turned on my camera in my level 2 live streaming, where I live stream for professionals, um, showing how I'm getting this behavior and keeping that engagement going. So without further ado, I am going to bring on, let me just go ahead and bring on one guest for now, and I can hear the other guests down in the lobby. Why don't I bring on Sylvia, And then Dawn and Mary, if you have ideas, just say it, and I'll bring you on. So I've got, okay, perfect. I've got 3 different guests. I am going to bring on Sylvia. Hey, Sylvia. Can you
Hi,
hear me?
everybody. Yay. So
Okay,
exciting.
good. Yeah. So Sylvia is up, and I'm going to say your name, Sylvia, your last name. Kozerchuk.
Yes.
Did I say it
Perfect.
right?
Yeah, perfect.
I've been reading your name for a couple of years. Uh, so here is Sylvia. Sylvia, do you want to? You're from Ontario, correct?
Yes. I live in Kingsville, Ontario, Canada. Kingsville is Canada's most southern town. And do you want me to continue?
Yeah, yeah. And while you continue, tell us about the work that you do. I'm looking at the people commenting, so now I can pay more attention to the guests and what they're saying. So Sylvia is from Canada. She's a professional dog trainer. I've met her several different times. Um, and as you guys have ideas for Sylvia, or if Sylvia is going to tell us about her business, I'll interject as well and give you ideas. Sylvia, go to town. Tell us about your business. What do you do?
Yeah, so I've transitioned now over the last several years. I am a professional dog trainer and I do behavior consultations as well, focusing mostly on dogs, but the last few years, after learning a lot from Laura, working with some farm animals as well. So that's awesome. I do provide mobile training for my clients. So I'm actually going to their homes. So that is at a halt here. Our area has become very restrictive with, retail. So I can still go into people's homes, but for obvious reasons, everybody is taking precautions. I do online consultations as well. And right now, I've got a really fun online training challenge with trainers across the world. If anybody's interested, it's really cheap. It's lifetime access. And that's what I do.
Good. Yeah. So, Sylvia, because we have several different dog trainers on here now, like I've been seeing over the past week, people doing personal in-home consultations, behavior consultations with animals. Now they're struggling because that's come to a halt.
Yes.
And I am a firm believer in online consultations. And, you know, so you're strictly doing online consultations now?
No, I do in home. I also do online. I don't. I don't have a lot of online consultations, but I do them. I find they do work really well. I have my dogs that I can demo with, and it's great. It's the only thing is, you don't have that personal touch when you're with owners one on one, which I love. But online is awesome. Those are the two services that I offer at this time. I don't do classes anymore. I
Okay.
don't have a facility, so it's all on the road or from my office.
Yeah, and I'm seeing people that are used to doing group dog training classes. I'm seeing people say, Lisa, I know you got a question. I'm going to address it here in a second. I'm seeing people say they're still doing classes, but they're going to parks and keeping a lot of distance between each other. I don't know if people are doing that. I do want to tell you, I very rarely do in-home consultations anymore and people in my memberships and projects, I am finding, and that's why I've switched to most of my work being online. The work that I don't do online is like workshops. People will travel here, do workshops, or I'll go to different people's places and do workshops. I prefer to do online versus in home. And I've even done it with people that are here in the same city. I'm just like, I'm telling you, do an online consultation because I can look over your shoulder and see how your animal's acting. Because once I walk in, the environment has changed. It's not everyday life. Or once the animal comes here, it's usually the animal's too overstimulated, or the animal's, yeah, super focused, but it's the animal's not going to act. When people bring their animals here, I mean, the last animal we had here was a dog, and they're just like, wow, how do you get this to happen? I was just like, I'm going to blow your mind in the next hour, and overwhelm you with information. Whereas if you had, I very rarely will do a one-time online consultation. And this is how I designed the memberships and the projects. I want you for a whole year, because once you leave this center, or once I walk out of your house, I've lost touch with you. Whereas if you join the memberships or projects, now I've got you for a full year. And if I don't hear from you in 3 weeks, I'm going to tag you and say, how's it going? And we do a lot of showing videos of how I'm working, taking small steps. And I ask them to show videos of their training, and then I'll live stream the replay of those videos and say, bam, right there at 30 seconds is where, whatever. But tell us about your training challenge.
Yeah, so I'm part of a pro dog group that is, we mentor under some fabulous trainers over in the UK. So they've put together a dog training challenge for us in their pro dog group, and it's lifetime access. So what we've done is, they've got 25 days of training challenge. It's mostly fun stuff. Anybody can do it. And the games really, which I incorporate a lot into my training and even behavior cases, by the end of it, you'll have a dog that's a lot better focused on you. It focuses on a lot of the pre-MAC principles and building desire and focus. So the dog's focused on you and not the squirrel. There's a few trainers across the world that I network with within this group, and we've put together our own Facebook group. So there'll be some personalized coaching that we're going to do. So it's awesome. We've got some trainers in our little group that are from Portland. We've got one from Sweden and one in the Colorado area. And then, of course, you're going to get some great video lessons. And we're going to post videos online about all our little everyday's challenge. And all of us are going to work alongside and share our little videos of what we're doing, and creating a really positive environment. So there's no no's, it's nothing but optimism and just a lot of energy. We want to bring the energy up because we need extra energy during this time. So, everybody can feel safe within that environment as well. Because often, some environments become a little bit too focused on little things, and we're just gonna keep it upbeat and just share, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And the great thing is that owners will have lifetime access to it. So I think it's awesome, and it's reasonably priced as well. So if anybody wants to PM me about it, it'll be fun.
So I know you can't tell that I've been putting up your name, your website. So if you want to contact Sylvia more about this and the work that she does, I'm posting her website, her email right there. And this is how you can contact her about the Trainers Challenge. This is how you can contact her about the service she offers. Here is her website. All right. Something else I was going to say. No, I think that's fantastic, Sylvia. I love that idea. Staying upbeat and positive. And right now is the time for everybody to be training their animals while they are locked up at home.
Yeah, just have fun. It's just, you know what? Training is fun, and this is what this training challenge is about. It's not about, and it's very, very different. So it's not something that a lot of people have seen. Again, it's just games, and you're actually teaching your dogs concepts. They don't know it. They're just having a ball. So, and it is fun. It's really, really fun. And the thing is that it's like this is a worldwide challenge. So it's phenomenal. And like I say, you have access to the worldwide group, but we call ourselves the Super Chicks. So we put together a little coaching group because we are the Super Chicks. So we're going to keep things upbeat. We're going to keep things upbeat and positive, and so it's great.
Good. Thanks, Sylvia. I'm getting ready to bring Dawn on. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say, for those that are watching, pay attention to the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page as well, because I'm trying to do one live stream a day showing something happy, something. I'm going to live stream playing with my dog this afternoon, just something not necessarily work related, but I'm going to live stream the toucan sticking its beak up my nose, which is several times for whatever reason she likes to forage up there. I'm just posting fun things because don't forget, kids are home right now. And if you're posting fun live streams, I know if I was a parent, I'd be like, here, kid, watch this.
Yeah,
Station.
That's one thing about this challenge. I mean, kids can do it any age. I mean, some kids are awesome dog trainers, so it's open for everybody.
Good. I see Lisa has asked a comment, and other people are addressing it. So Lisa, she's asking about dogs in shelters right now. So maybe we talk that in a future live stream, but I'm getting ready to bring on Dawn so we don't run out of time. Because we got one more guest after Dawn. So here's Dawn Graham.
Hi, guys.
Out of Oklahoma, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is Dawn Graham. I've known Dawn for a couple of years, and I know her pretty well. I've never met you physically,
right,
face to face, but we know each other online pretty well. Dawn has an online service with products that we have here, and I want to support her work. So, Dawn, as you talk, I am going to post your name and your website and your email. Okay. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
I'm Dawn. I own a online store called Birdie Box Bird Toys, and I provide bird toys and enrichment for parrots of all shape, size, species, and whatever. My main focus is, of course, on safety. That's my number one focus, but I try to really incorporate foraging and foraging behaviors in all of my toys. I mean, I have regular foraging type toys, and then I have other toys that, help replicate, I guess you could say, the foraging behavior of the shredding and digging and whatnot. I have just the standard wood toys and stuff for the bigger birds, obviously, but my main focus really is on foraging. I'm a huge, huge advocate for foraging. I've seen the difference it makes in my own birds, and I want all the birds out there to be foraging. So that's what I do. I don't have a brick and mortar store. It's strictly online. So during all of this coronavirus and stuff, I'm obviously self-quarantined because I'm home-based anyway, so it kind of works out.
That's great. And I've used some of your toys. I'm going to back up something you say. This isn't just for birds. I mean, what I'm getting ready to say isn't just for birds. Foraging is one of the first behaviors we teach any animal that comes in here at the Animal Behavior. And we have a wide variety of animals here, from lemurs, deaf and blind dogs, parrots, pigs, turkey vultures, whatever, fish. Because
again, it's just games, and you're actually teaching.
That comes in here at the animal behavior, and we have a wide variety of animals here, from lemurs, deaf and blind dogs, parrots, pigs, turkey vultures.
Well, in the wild, all animals.
Okay, for whatever reason.
I said in the wild, all animals forage. I mean, that's how they get their food. So, it stands to reason that no matter what the species is, they should be foraging, doing some kind of foraging.
Yeah, because I'm getting ready. I listened to NPR a lot, and I haven't listened to it in 2 days because I just can't handle any more news. I am getting ready to write an email newsletter that is, how do we now feel trapped in our cages? They were talking about the anxiety, the stress,
Yep.
not being restricted from physical contact. And I wanted to say, now how the animals feel.
That's exactly right. That's
we
exactly
are now
right.
trapped in our cages,
Yep.
and I hear people saying they're depressed, a lot of stress, anxiety. We're social creatures, and now we are limited.
Very limited. I mean, if you can't get on,
imagine how our animals feel.
Yeah, you can't get online. You don't have any kind of social interaction of any sort. So yeah, it can be very desolate.
Yes. So Dawn, I'm getting ready to bring Mary on in about 3 minutes. Dawn, I always tell people foraging is one of the first things I teach because it's a great replacement behavior. It's also a great occupier of time. If you don't want an animal doing a certain behavior, undesired behavior, what do you want them to do instead? And it also helps create independence. And I think a lot of people in the companion parrot community, because these are social creatures, and a lot of times we're housing them individually for their own safety, there's a lot of separation anxiety can start developing, and foraging helps create independence. Yeah. And you have a case at your place where you had a bird with feather destructive behavior and mutilation.
Yes.
And he is now a beautiful feather, is he not?
Yes. Well, he plucked
a little. You want to tell us a little bit about him?
Yes. That's my Goffin's cockatoo named Peanut. He for several years ago, actually, it was right before I found the Parrot Project, had done some feather destructive behavior, and then that eventually went into mutilation of his chest. And, obviously I took him to the vet, and we did all of the blood work and whatever to make sure that he was healthy that way. And then I found the Parrot Project, and I started, which he always foraged, but I didn't do enough foraging, and I wasn't making it complicated enough for him, complex enough. And so between getting his diet straightened out and then adding and incorporating that foraging, I saw a lot of because his mutilation was strictly behavioral, I saw a lot of that really take a sharp dive and refeathered him in just a pretty short time. Of course, I've got to really stay on my toes because I have to keep that complexity going. So I'm getting super creative for him, but it's helped a lot. He recently did destroy his feathers again a little bit, but I think that was right when hormone season happened. I've got a female bird in the same room as him, and he's a male, so I think that was a little bit of it. But he hasn't mutilated since, so I'm extremely pleased of that. I can deal with a little bit of destruction of their feathers, but the mutilation was really hard to go through. Really hard to go through.
Oh, I can't imagine. I have 5 parrots here that are notoriously known for being mutilators and feather pluckers. So
Right.
I'm consistently being negatively reinforced.
Yeah.
But what's nice
it's
now,
hard.
I can. Yeah. I mean, and this doesn't apply. I mean, this isn't pertinent just to birds, but a lot of our enrichment for our animals is we need to keep it changing, increase complexities.
Yes.
Foraging offers the 3 C's: choice, control, and complexity.
Yes.
And that enrichment is through our training as well. And I always tell people, studies show that with predictability comes boredom. There are certain areas where I work with very predictable, with fearful animals in the beginning. But with predictability comes boredom. They can get extremely bored with the same old training over and over. I see this so many times with dogs, and I'm like, kick it up, do something different. The same thing with our enrichment.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
talk about that a lot in the parrot project. Enrichment is huge in the parrot project.
You know,
and
it's not just the
you're going to
enrichment.
see everybody that's in our.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I wasn't trying to interrupt you.
Go ahead, Dawn.
I was just going to say, you know, it's not, enrichment is so important, but I think people fail to remember when you're talking about enrichment that it's an ongoing process and you need to continually, like you said, change it or add levels of complexity. I know that when I run out of ideas here, you know, I may have the complexity level sky high, and what I'll do is go back to basics. And it just gives, it's a change, even though the birds have had that before and, you know, maybe got bored with it or whatever. It's just different. And so I change it up all the time. You know, I may do really high levels of complexity, really basic, simple stuff, some in between stuff, just to keep things changing. I know, you know, when Peanut, my Goffins, was mutilating, I was doing foraging. I was doing a lot of foraging with him, but it was the same old foraging. And I think I didn't realize, you know, at the time, the importance of keeping it changing and really adding the levels of complexity that I needed to add. So he was just bored. He was foraging every day, but he was bored. And so, you know, and then of course, when I found the parrot project, you know, then I learned that and seen where I needed to make some changes. And since I'd made those changes, you know, like I said, his life has improved tremendously. My stress levels have went down tremendously because of it. So I just, you know, we talk about enrichment and foraging, but people that don't know, they just don't know. There's so many steps in between there that you need to keep on top of.
Yeah. And another thing is, if your animal isn't foraging, you may be taking too big of steps in the shaping plan. And I find that is extremely common.
Yes.
People take way too big of steps.
Yep.
Okay, so Dawn with Birdie Box toys. Right here is I'm showing her. This is how you can get on her email newsletter list. I'm on her email newsletter list. Here is her website. Lisa, okay. Lisa says, how do we keep, well, Lisa Brooke Morgan says the complexity is part of why social people are struggling with the social distancing. We are all in it, animals and people. I'm foraging in my garden. Thank goodness it's spring or I would lose it. And you know what the thing is? We're all in this together. I'm bringing Mary on now. We're all in this together. We're going to get through this together. Everybody's having complications. We're having a lot of the same complications. The key is be there for each other. Mary, hello. So you waited 40 minutes to come on. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Let me get the agenda pulled up here. So Mary, I met you last summer, correct?
Right.
Yep. And your last name is Iko? Ilko. Sorry. I told you I was going to screw it up. Now Mary has a very unique service that I hope your email is going to get bombarded as soon as we finish this.
That'd be nice.
So these are some things we can offer to the community that you might not be thinking of. When Mary told me this the other day, I was just like, you need to message me right now. That was yesterday afternoon. I met Mary last summer, and then she was in my happy hour on Friday night, and that's when I learned about what you do, Mary. Do you want to talk about why you're on here today and what services you can offer the public that probably really needs it?
Sure. I'm a chemist by day. So, and unfortunately, my position was eliminated right before Christmas. So this is awesome. I've been working in the chemical industry field for more than 25 years, shall we say. But my background is chemistry. I have degrees in chemistry, biology, and my minors are math and physics. So with all that stuff, I've ended up teaching my nieces and nephews through the years whenever they have problems. So, I'm kind of a family go-to person for, hey, I'm having trouble in math, I'm having trouble in science or chemistry. So, I think a lot of parents could be frustrated right now with helping their kids, and I'd love to help them.
Yes, so you can do, all these kids are at home right now. And one of my volunteers, I was talking to her last night, we were talking about, I was listening to this on NPR, somebody was talking about their fifth grader at home, and she's just like, I've never felt so dumb because I'm now helping him with fifth grade math, and I'm realizing how much I don't know. And I was laughing about it. Thank God I never had kids, because I don't know what I would be doing right now. Because if I had to help them with their homework, I'd be like, I'm sorry, kid, I can only modify your behavior. That's about all I have to offer you.
I really enjoy it too.
When Mary, you were saying this the other night in happy hour, and I'm just like, so many people across the United States and internationally could probably use your services right now with online consultations to help the tutor or get their kids through this period of time. I know I would be calling. You would be on my speed dial. So I just thought, when Mary told me that's what she does, I was like, you need to be doing online consultations. I think this is fabulous.
And really, usually the problems kids have, it's not that hard to help them understand. When I was in college, my first college calculus class I dropped. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to minor in math. I'm never going to get through it. But I was lucky enough to find the right teacher, and it made all the difference in the world. I used to feel like personally a failure in math when I was growing up, because I always, I struggled. I had to work really hard. And then college, I'm taking calculus, 1, 2, 3, 4, diff 1, diff 2, stats. And it was really a matter of finding the right professor and having it make a difference. So that's actually something I'd like to do. I think we need to do a lot more for our students in grades 1 through 5 in math, because so many of the good jobs require math. And I know, like, my older sister wanted to be a nurse, but she's a musician because she didn't feel strong enough in math. And that's really sad, because I really believe if a kid is an A student and then they say, oh, I'm not good at math, I don't believe it. I just think they haven't found the right people to help them yet. I'll get off my soapbox, because
isn't that kind of passionate about. Yeah, no, isn't that the truth about finding the right teacher or professor? And a lot of times we don't have those choices. I know when you're talking about physics and math and pre-calc and calc 1 and all this stuff, my anxiety is rising, and I'm just like, I have enough. I'm like, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parents. Okay,
that makes my mind blow. I can't do it.
Yeah. So I am posting Mary's email address right now, how to get a hold of Mary. And if you're in any live streams or you're on any social media where you see people struggling with their kids at home, sorry, I'm watching the comments. We're struggling with their kids at home, especially in the area of math. There you go. You don't have an excuse now. Come on here or message me, and I will give you Mary's email address or her contact information, or just email Mary right there. So there's Mary's email address. Okay, now we've got the remaining 10 minutes to. Sorry, there's a lot of background noise coming from somebody. We've got remaining 10 minutes to address questions. If anybody has questions for me, Sylvia, Dawn, or Mary, or want to make a comment. So I am going to go back and address one question that came in. So if we can brainstorm this together. Well, let's see. It was about, okay, this is from Lisa Morgan. She says, maybe off topic, but since I am home, school's closed, I really want to help the local animal shelter. I'm so extremely concerned with exposure. Will the shelter animals survive this? That's not the first time I've been asked this. Do we want to talk about this? I have some ideas. Go ahead, Sylvia.
Well, I do know that a lot of the shelters are closing their doors to the public here. So I don't know there for obvious reasons, because they do have to keep their staff safe as well. So I don't know if there's anything to help. If anything, maybe making a bunch of foraging toys and bringing it to them.
Supplies.
Because, yeah, and that's awesome. And even like my games-based class is, even a shelter worker, there's some awesome tips of, things that they can do with the dogs, while they're in there for those shelters. I mean, all shelters work with their animals, but some of them have behavior departments. But I think that's about the safest thing to do. Is making foraging toys and perhaps, putting them in a box, emailing them and letting them know that you're going to drop it off in front of the door because, like I say, check with your area because I know here they are closing the doors. They're locking the doors to the public.
Yeah. I forgot to talk about your mask, Dawn.
Oh.
Don't let me forget that.
Okay.
So yeah, I posted in the one of the memberships or projects the other day. I was just like, I have 15 volunteers here now. Well, I don't anymore. I did a couple days ago, and now there's 15 people helping me run this center, and now I'm doing it all by myself. And I'm just like, I can't even. I don't have the time to get to the enrichment toys. I'm trying to get there. I don't have time to get there. And somebody in one of the projects or memberships said, I think it was Brenda, said, can we make toys for you and ship them to you? And I'm not going to tell it. I'm not going to lie. I did break down and cry. I was like, that is so sweet,
Your volunteers should take the supplies home and do them at home and then just drop them off at your front door. They could be doing that at home for your birds, your animals.
Yeah.
I mean,
most shelters do. Well, I can't speak for all of them, but shelters do try to utilize their volunteers that way. Well, now the volunteers really, I'm guessing, can't get in there. Maybe they have to slow them down. I was down south last month and went into a shelter and helped them out with a little bit with a bunch of ideas because, and bam, they were on it. They got volunteers stuffing Kongs and making stuff. And so, yeah, it's because the staff usually doesn't do stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. That's even Lisa Morgan's here in town. And she said that she would help. I think that's a great idea because I'm struggling and I'm telling you, you want to see some behavior issues. I'm seeing the dogs are doing fairly well. The birds, not so well, and I'm just like, and it's causing stress and anxiety in me. I'm just like, I'm starting to see some abnormal repetitive behavior starting to happen here. And this is everything what I try to prevent here. And it's very stressful, So, Lisa, yeah, if somebody wants to help, I mean, that's a great idea about having the volunteers take this stuff home. I got to run a table saw out here by myself, which is number one rule we never do here is run a table saw by ourselves, but I don't have anybody to help me. But I thought before the state of Ohio shuts down, I asked my husband, I was like, get to Home Depot and buy a ton of wood. So now we have all this wood and I just need to cut it. So I'm figuring that out.
You know, a chop saw is a lot less scary to use than a table saw. You know, a miter saw, because I use the miter saw and I have both. And my table saw makes me scared. You know, it's a little more frightening. You might find that more manageable.
Okay.
That's a great suggestion. Chop saw is much easier to use.
It's called a chop saw?
Miter saw.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. Does anybody else have? I know Eva makes a question. Is anyone offering any service products for food, given the financial devastation the pandemic is having as well? I know I'm doing some things, but it's for people who are currently in my memberships and projects. I'm trying to think of some other things. Sylvia talked about the training challenge. That's one. Yeah. So, I need to scroll down. Ray down in Florida asked, have you heard of anyone giving up their pets because they are afraid they could carry the virus? No, I have not heard that. But that's the importance. And I forgot to post a picture of last week's live stream with a scientist that studied at Yale. And it's not just about birds, guys. A week old news is old news now, especially when things are changing for us every 12 hours. But that live stream has fabulous information. It's bird heavy, but it's not focused on birds. It relates to all animals. And no, I have not heard of anybody getting rid of their pets because this is not a zoonotic disease. I've not heard of anybody getting rid of their pets for this reason. There is some concern out there, and I just share that live stream. We don't need any more anxiety and stress than we already have. Okay, I want to, so everybody has how to contact everybody on here, their emails. Share this with people. We need to support each other right now. This is very important.
Can I just say something?
So I wanted to, let's end.
I just want to, whoever's watching or listening, if, you're sitting at home because you can't go to work or whatever, and, reach out to your local community, call maybe the Meals on Wheels people, any of the services that your city offers for elderly people, the children, school children. I know our school here is still giving lunches out, and all the children's parents got to do is come by at lunchtime and they'll walk it out to their car so that the kids are still able to get their free lunches. But, you may be able to help do that. Or I know I'm making face masks for some of the clinics to donate because, they're running low on the other stuff. And so, and I'm doing that with my free time. I do have orders and stuff coming in, but of evening I like to sew, and so sewing is one of my things. So if you have a particular thing that you're good at in a particular area, maybe you can utilize that right now to help your community. You don't always have to go out into the community. There's a lot of things you can do at home and ship it to them, or maybe offer some phone services of some sort, or like Mary's doing with the online consultations. There's got to be something you can do to help your community if you want to use up some of your free time. So that's what I wanted to say.
Get creative. Okay.
Yeah.
Most people are, I don't want to say they've lost their jobs, but their jobs are suspended temporarily. And this is the time to think. Yesterday I was like, you just need to get creative, because look at all the job opportunities that are now popping up. This is our working ecosystem.
Yep.
So, okay. Lisa says, be sure to add a filter pocket on those masks.
Lisa, it depends on which clinic and where you're sending it to as to what they require. So if you are going to be making face masks, you need to, whoever you're sending them to, you definitely need to contact them and see what their requirements are. They have different areas of the hospital that they can use, the masks with the filters obviously would go for the doctors and nurses. The ones that I'm making would probably be more for the patients, but the clinic that I'm sending them to are running out of disposables, and so they are using these over the disposables to make the disposables last longer, and these can be washed and sanitized. So that really just depends on where you're sending it, what their requirements are.
Okay, thank you. A couple different people are asking if I can share the link to last week's video that I spoke with Dr. Amy Hopkins. All you have to do is, it's right here on the Facebook page. Just go to videos. It's going to be the last couple ones that popped up. I will share the link once we end this live stream. Yes. Okay. So with that being said, I won't post all the things that I had at the end of my live stream, but I want to say a couple of things. Support each other. Have a business. Support each other. This is our working ecosystem right now. Reach out to the guests that I've had online today. If you need the mask, need bird toys, want to do online dog consultations, you need a tutor in your house. That being said, I also want to say, pay attention to the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page. You're going to see a live stream this week and I'm not going to say a word, you're just going to see, and you're going to be like, what are we watching? And you'll find out, because I'm going to keep live streaming some things that are happening. So, anyways, with that being said, you guys are very welcome. We're getting a lot of thank yous, and a thank you to my guests on here today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we'll get through this, guys, okay? I want to thank Dawn, Sylvia, and Mary for coming on with me today. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Everybody.
Definitely.
You're very welcome. Be well and stay safe.
I'll see you in
Stay
happy
safe,
hour.
everyone.